Hey there, sweet friends, and Merry Christmas. Today I'm excited to show you how to decorate these fun, super easy beginner level Christmas sugar cookies. These are decorated with royal icing, and I'm using these tipless piping bags for decorating. You can find my royal icing recipe as well as my recommendations for beginner tools on my website, sarahgracecookieco.com, as well as lots more in-depth information about creating the right consistency for your icing and a free online class about royal icing and consistency. So, this consistency that I'm using is 22nd. If you're new to cookie decorating, which I know a lot of people come into the cookie decorating world during Christmas, so I want to kind of bring it back to basics here. Some cookie decorators like to use a really thick icing to outline the cookie and then use a thinner icing to do what we call a flood or fill in that space. I personally like to use one consistency for outlining and flooding, and this is kind of a magic consistency in my book. It's a 22nd. It's a little bit thick, but thin enough to still cover the cookie, and that way you don't have to mess with as many bags and you can kind of skip a couple of steps. As you can see, I've flooded this ornament cookie, but I've left a hole at the top because that's where we're going to put our catch light. We want this ornament cookie to appear as if there's a light from a Christmas tree shining on the side of it. So once I get all this worked out with my scribe tool, I just like to kind of make sure it's smooth. Then I'm going to take some 22nd white consistency and just go into that empty space. You can see that I've used a bit of yellow here as well, just to make it look as though it is more like a light. We want that warm Christmas tree light kind of glow. I'm using my scribe to blend those colors together and make them look a bit more seamless. And then, because you know I gotta be extra, I'm adding a little bit more clear catch light at the top with that white flood consistency icing. Now, taking a thicker consistency, which is made simply by taking the icing out of the mixer and putting the color in before placing it in the bag, I just did a little squiggle line at the top to make the top of this ornament cookie. Super easy, super simple, and cute. This would be great to replicate in lots of different colors, to use as place settings at Christmas time. I was going for a woodsy vibe with these Christmas sugar cookies, and the outside of this heart is that same taupe color, thick consistency icing, and I'm using that to create what's eventually going to look like the bark of a tree. We want this heart cookie to resemble a cut tree stump in the shape of a heart, and then I'm going to show you my technique for creating a wood grain. This piping bag has a little bit of brown gel food coloring on the inside of the bag. So I placed it down in the cup and just took a paintbrush and striped the side of the bag with that gel food coloring. Then I took a lighter brown flood consistency icing and placed into the bag. When it comes out of the bag, it picks up a bit of that brown and creates this fun wood grain pattern. I'm going to use my scribe just to adjust it a bit, not too much. We still want it to have that pretty stripe, and we're not worried about it looking too terribly neat because wood is natural. If you're a beginner cookie decorator, I highly recommend using things from nature as your inspiration, because sometimes things in nature aren't exactly perfect, or they're a little bumpy and have some unique patterns, so it's easy to make it look natural in my opinion. And you don't have to stress about making things exactly perfect. I've given this just a few minutes to develop a crust on top, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be that long. You just want the icing to not be quite as wet on top of the heart. Normally, I would recommend allowing royal icing to dry for at least 8 hours before you do anything with it, like package or paint on top of the cookie. But for this set of Christmas cookies, these were actually for a beginner level cookie decorating class in my hometown. So we just waited for it to get a little less than wet, and then we went. Once the holly leaves and berries are placed, I'm taking that same flood consistency white icing that I was using earlier and adding a bit of snow to the top of the holly and berries to just make this cookie extra Christmassy. Now, this little tree cookie may look a bit intimidating because it's sort of detailed, but don't let that detail fool you. I'm just using some thick consistency icing here to create a tree trunk and a few branches to help guide me as I make the leaves. This cookie design is just a lot of repetitive motions with the piping bag. It's nothing super complicated, it's just something that you do over and over again. I'm simply using some thick consistency green icing. This is the same color as that ornament from before, and making some line shapes. Very simple, just planting the end of the icing down as I squeeze the piping bag, pulling up, and then planting it again. So I'm just kind of fanning these branches out in like a fan or pine leaf type of pattern. I'm laying the bottom ones going out from the stem and then just layering a few on top after that. This actually made me think of when I was little, my mom used to watch the Martha Stewart Christmas special way back in the day, and I remember learning how to fluff the Christmas tree. Like if you have an artificial Christmas tree, she showed this method of fluffing the branches out in a way that made the tree look really full and lush, and that's the method that my mom always used. She always does such a good job of making her tree look fluffy. Since having little ones of my own, I'm ashamed to say that I don't really use the fluffing method anymore. I just kind of pull it out of the box, and this year I just opened the ornament box and let the boys go to town because it was just easier and it looked cute and everybody was happy. But I do really appreciate those beautiful, fluffy, artificial trees. So I kind of used that method or that mindset as I was making these pretty branches on this pine tree. As we're finishing up this last part of the pine tree and adding just a few more details, I would love to get to know you a little bit more in the comments. If you could comment down below and tell me where you are in your cookie decorating journey. Is this the first cookie decorating video you've watched? Have you picked up a piping bag yet? Or are you a seasoned pro? I would love to learn more about where you are, how you got started, and get to know you a little bit better. And of course, if you'd like, you can always come over to the Cookie Confidence Facebook group where we're hanging out every day. We have a different prompt every day through the week. So for example, Fridays are Photo Fridays, and we get to share examples of our work and see other cookie decorators' work as kind of like an inspiration thing, and follow along with each other to grow our social media accounts if that's something you're interested in. I'm using that same technique here of just adding a bit of snow on top with the flood consistency white, and then I'm using that red that I used for the holly berries and coming back in to do a few ornaments on the tree. When I'm making a set for a cookie class like this, I love to start with the color palette to help me decide kind of what designs I'm going to create, because if I know what colors I'm going to be making, it's a lot easier to decide on the design, and knowing the colors beforehand helps me kind of limit myself a bit creatively so that I'm not making 100 colors on the day of the class. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Hey y'all, welcome back to Sarah Grace Cookie Co. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sarah Grace. I teach people how to decorate beautiful custom sugar cookies with royal icing. I'm a small town mama from Tennessee, and I created a business at home that allowed me to spend more time with my boys using my sugar cookie decorating skills. So if you're interested in learning to decorate sugar cookies, join us over in the Cookie Confidence Facebook group. That's where we talk about all things cookie decorating business. It's a free Facebook group where all you have to do is request to join. If you'd like a little bit more in-depth support, you can check out my signature programs, the Cookie Classroom and the Cookie Career Academy. Cookie Classroom is an online cookie teaching class. It's like Netflix for cookie decorators. Once you purchase the program, you're allowed to create a login, and then you can log in and view step-by-step, in-depth, hands-on cookie decorating teaching that shows you exactly how to go from a beginner who's never held a piping bag all the way to a pro, with classes like Florals Masterclass, writing on cookies without a projector. It's very step-by-step and teaches you how to go all the way from the beginning to a pro. You can also check out the Cookie Career Academy. That is my program for people who want to create a business with their cookie decorating skills and earn income from home as a home baker. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me in the comments and check the description for more.